might have to do a self haircut again. We're hitting that point, guys. So I found Ashnikko through a few friends of mine. Fucking hell, what was that? I found Ashnikko through a few friends of mine. There we go, we did it. And I was mostly exposed to the track Daisy, which I think is a pretty good track. I mean, it's not the most original thing in the world. The production's pretty standard. It's got like a bit of like a, I guess like a modern trap hip hop flavor to it. You can definitely hear like that kind of influence coming through. The lyrics are obviously very in your face. She's instantly trying to show you who's boss on this track, which ultimately becomes a bit of an irritation throughout the rest of the album. But I think this being the first track is good because it does what it does well, and at least you can kind of take solace in the fact that this track does stand out in a pretty catchy way, and then it kind of starts to lose itself as it goes along. And I say irritation with my whole chest here, a very bold claim that I stand by, because it really doesn't take long for her lyrics to get really redundant and frustrating, and it really doesn't take that long for it to become pretty unlikable. Actually, a lot of the tracks are written from a pretty bitter place. Immediately actually after Daisy you get Toxic, which I just don't really think is written well at all. It's essentially just an anthem about, you know, someone's trying to drag her down, so she's going to drag them down back. It's really just one of those tracks that addresses the haters, and it's one of those things where it's like, I don't care what the haters say, I'm going to do my own thing, but actually I do care what you said, that one time. You said I'm an overachiever, and you know, you said I don't deserve things, so I'm going to talk about you. And I get it, you know, there's always people out there trying to drag you down, and it can get to you really heavily sometimes. It can certainly impact your mental state. Sometimes you just can't cope with too many people saying things about you, and yeah, I get it, but it just never makes for a very well written song. And Ashnikko certainly isn't the songwriter to be impressing me with tracks like this, because her lyrics really aren't very good. Deal With It is really where I'm lost with this, because musically it's not particularly very good. There's kind of like that tropical influence that was really big in popular music for quite a few years. She's a bit behind the wave, and honestly that actual wave never produced many great tracks, so using this type of production it doesn't really land too well at all. She's just essentially telling someone to deal with it and how much she hates them right now. It's really not the kind of like sassy track she thinks it is. It just comes across as really really not likable at all. It just seems to hit a point where she comes across as whiny more so than anything else, and it's just a bit irritating to listen to, really. But then you hit Slumber Party, and well, we really move on to something very different here. Your girlfriend is getting cunnilingus from the couch, and something about hentai boobies as well. What a weird track this one is in the way she's writing it. It's essentially a lesbian wet dream fantasy, I feel. She's essentially stealing a girl from someone's boyfriend and doing all kinds of things when they get together at a slumber party. I don't know if it's attempting to play into like male fantasies or something, or she's just trying to like prop herself up, because she does that a little bit on this album where she's always on top and she's always the baddest bitch and no one else is as good as her and everyone else is beneath her. Like, that comes across in her tone on almost every track. So this track really just comes across more like it's just her bragging about how great she is and how she can just get any girl and shit like that. The track Little Boy is incredibly annoying. I don't really think this track sells itself very well at all with that chorus, and the repetition of Little Boy just gets so redundant so fast. The point is hammered in. Yes, he's a deadbeat dude who does nothing good for you, and you're just kind of saying the same shit over and over again. With her delivery and with the way she writes her lyrics, it is really difficult not to view this as like an incredibly petty song because of how she writes her words. If she sold it in a way that didn't come across like that, then I wouldn't even be close to saying it's petty. But no, she just isn't very good at writing songs, so petty is the only word that can be used. I just find it so funny how she's calling him a little boy over and over again, and then at one point in one of the verses, she has the audacity to say, "Don't call me a little girl." Well, bro, you were calling him a little boy the whole time, so like, did you just call him that just because he called you that? You like used the same insult towards him because he did it to you? Mate! It's the exact equivalent to how when I like mess with my nephew and call him like a stinky poo-poo head, and then immediately he's like, "No, Ryan, you're a stinky poo-poo head." And I'm like, well, you just called me the same thing I called you, so maybe try and, you know, be more creative with your insults, please. Come on, you can do better than that. But, you know, he's 5 years old, so I get it from him. But like, you know, an adult doing the same shit, nah, Ashnikko, you need to really rewrite some of these tracks. Cry is a point on the album where I just kind of lose hope with it because the vocals here are really, really scratchy and not pleasant on the ears. Drunk with My Friends is a worse example of that, actually. The vocals on there are horrific. But Cry is worse in a way because of how it's written. Like, she's talking about how someone's gonna make her cry, and she's just basically kind of like, you know, threatening them because if you try and make her cry, you know, you won't end very well. In fact, you may end up dying because in the last part of the song she talks about how she's homicidal. So you're gonna make someone cry, she will shoot you in the face. It's proportionate, obviously. It's very proportionate stuff here. You're allowed to shoot someone in the face if they make you cry. It's the edgiest shit. Like, when someone like talks about edgy stuff, sometimes people call something edgy when I don't really think it is that edgy. But no, this is the definition of edgy. And I could imagine some fans coming to the comments telling me that it's not edgy, but like, how can you not hear these lyrics on Cry and not think it's edgy? She tries really hard, it's just so try hard throughout, and again, just not written particularly very well at all. Later Boy takes the entire structure and basically just takes Skater Boy as the song and just uses that, and she puts her own lyrics over it. There are a few funny like lines that pop out, to be fair, about how he didn't make her come. It's a really kind of like Regina Spektor moment of that line on Soviet Kitsch where she's like, "And you didn't make your wife moan." It's kind of like that kind of thing. It's a little funny line here. And the part where Skater Boy is left on his own with his hands down his pants, on his balls particularly, that's a pretty funny part too. It's just a shame that she had to take a song that we already know and just make lyrics over it. I mean, it makes for some humorous moments, but it's just it kind of comes across as a bit random. Like, I guess there's a bit of an Avril Lavigne spirit in what Ashnikko does. There's, you know, that edginess, that kind of like punk attitude, punk with quotes, because obviously Avril Lavigne wasn't really that punk, but yeah, you know, if you squint your eyes really hard, you can see punk in her. So yeah, I get why she would make a song like this, but I don't know, I just listen to the song. I think I would rather listen to Skater Boy because it's a better song, to be honest. Clitoris the musical is not a episode of RuPaul's Drag Race. It is in fact a song that closes out Ashnikko's Demidevil. And oh my god, the whole thing about how she compares the clitoris to a prize machine, like an arcade machine, and the hand is like the claw and the prize is you know, the teddy bear, and like the teddy bear is actually the orgasm. It's all a bit like, mate, you really like jumped leaps and bounds to get to this bloody analogy. Like, what on earth is this? It's also got a bit like a creepiness to it as well, how you're like making all these comparisons, like teddy bears and like orgasms. Like, I've said in this review already, man, like, rewrite your lyrics, Ashnikko, please. Yeah, this is the best example of that. And in this musical, she's expressing painfully how cisgender heterosexual men cannot give women orgasms, and you know, clearly she is a victim of that. But apart from that one time she was at a slumber party though, and bro, the hentai boobies, mate, orgasm central. There's definitely some funny bits here and there, and I think across the album there are a few moments that are pretty funny. So it doesn't really sour my opinion overall too much. I think if there weren't, you know, the one-liner here and there that does actually genuinely make me laugh. I don't know if I'm laughing at her or laughing with her, but that's rather, not, you know, that's not here or there. It still is making me laugh, I suppose. So it's just a shame that, you know, the bitterness lingers. It really lingers on this album in an unfortunate way. She needs to tidy things up, man. There's too much of like a, I guess, a feminist Tumblr sort of vibe on these lyrics. It's like you're making a point maybe on some tracks occasionally, but the way you're writing them is really poor. I mean, just look at someone like Stella Donnelly. She does this kind of thing way better and way more likable, way funnier, to be honest. I mean, she is funny and you're not laughing at her like you are with Ashnikko. So yeah, not really for me, this one. I don't think I'm really the prime audience anyway, or the target demographic. But, you know, there was Daisy. I enjoyed Daisy, so I at least thought I'd get something out of it. But no, I don't think this entire project is for me. But, you know, if you're like the type of person on Facebook that writes statuses about how all men do you wrong and, you know, they're all unfaithful and they're shits because you have a bad taste and you keep picking those kinds of men, then this would definitely be the kind of mixtape for you. 5 out of 10 from me, pretty weak overall. Thank you for watching this review though. Let me know your thoughts in the comments if you like this more than I do. If you really like it and you love it, that would be great. Let me know. If you hate it, let me know. If you're somewhere in the middle like me, you know, occasional humorous bit, but mostly mediocre, let me know wherever you are. Thank you for watching this review. Don't get too mad if you love Ashnikko. I'm not holding it against you. It's just my opinion, obviously. I feel like I don't need to say that, but then when you read some comments sometimes, then I'm like, well, I obviously clearly need to say that. So, but thank you for watching. Do subscribe if you haven't already. And goodbye. Goodbye.